we will be focusing on crystals that we have not yet gone over. I know that we did a few beginner crystals in the first introductory video. This video will show you a couple more options that you haven't seen yet. Now, this is fuchsite. You will hear it often referred to as fuchsite, and that is an incorrect pronunciation. Notice the striations here. Nice layers throughout. Let's take a closer look. There is a shimmery effect. It almost appears to be painted on, but I can assure you this is a natural formation here. Fuchsite comes in a variety of shades. And here we have a piece in its polished form. Notice these red to purple splotches here through the center. This is ruby that is ingrained into the fuchsite. And it's polished and it forms a nice pattern here. This would make a nice lucky charm to carry in your pocket. It's quite pretty. Next, we have this beautiful piece of apatite. I'll bring it a little closer for you. You can see pitting here in the formation, along with nice stripes, beautiful color. And this stone is well appreciated by the metaphysical realm. Natural healers and the like use this stone for many purposes. This shiny, polished piece, for example, would be perfect in a meditation practice. If that's not your thing, then it's still a beautiful piece to have on display. Makes a great worry stone. Nice groove there. Here's a bit of a rougher piece of apatite. This mineral comes in many colors. Crystal healers like to use apatite with the law of attraction. And as funny as it sounds, the name apatite is somewhat relevant in that sometimes apatite stones are carried for appetite suppression. Now you will all have to let me know if that works. I'm curious. Next, we have some beautiful pieces of spotted Rhyolite. What I find interesting about Rhyolite is the difference in pattern here. Because if you take a close look at these, you will notice that not only are there spots, there are swirls, chunks, and stripes as well. And this is due to the formation of the rock. These patterns are formed from volcanic magma, and this magma cools before it is allowed to fully form into crystals. This is Chalcedony. Sometimes you may hear it referred to as Chalcedony. This is the blue version. It's a nice light blue. I don't know if the camera is picking up this very subtle, very beautiful tone. You can see a gradient or a variation here, starting on this outer edge and going inward. You can see this gradient where the color has formed, and then the flat surface here, as well as here. I have only recently purchased some Chalcedony for my own personal collection, and these are my personal pieces. These are used by crystal healers. They promote harmony. They are said to be a very harmonious piece. That is, they promote harmony and well-being and creativity. You will often find metaphysical workers that have collected large bowls or large piles of Chalcedony for invoking the creative process. This is also used in meditation as a throat chakra stone. And we talked very briefly about chakras, and perhaps I can do a second separate video about chakras, but the quick version is that each stone or color would correspond to a chakra or two. So, if this were to correspond with your throat chakra, then it would have an effect on things like speaking up, talking through problems, or communication-based things that you want to work on in your cleansing or in your chakra balance, whatever it may be. I'll say it one more time. If that's not your jam, then these stones are still a beautiful part of nature. And no matter where they come from, what they do, or what you see in them personally, we all can agree that these are marvels of nature and a thing of beauty. This one I like to look at in particular. These pieces are called Peridot. There are unique, beautiful colors and patterns, but this stays in the green family. This is a more olive green with some gold throughout, but you can find it a deeper, darker green, as well as a lighter version. It's one of the very few that actually only comes in green. Now, the ancient Egyptians called this the gem of the sun. In fact, it is believed that some, if not all, of Cleopatra's beautiful jewelry, which were said to be prized emerald jewels, were actually made of this beautiful peridot. Just have a look at this gorgeous pattern. Even the way that it's polished is beautiful. I love how these pieces in particular are very flat and unique looking. I sometimes lose my thought while I'm admiring it. Notice the pitting here and the difference in textures throughout. One fun fact about this beautiful stone is that it was found in meteorites. Yes, you heard me right. This stone was found in meteorites that have fallen from the sky. They've also been found on Mars and on the moon as well. It's a bit of a space stone, if you will. Here is a small piece of jade. Here's a more polished version here, although it's still a little rough here. I wanted to bring you a nice representative large green chunk of fresh jade. However, I was unable to find an appropriate match, but I still wanted to include jade in this video because it is beautiful and it's important for videos in the future that I would like you to be well informed on it before we use it in the next video. So, this is jade. This is a fertility stone. It carries a nurturing energy with it. It reminds us of abundance and wealth. And I don't think you have to be an energy healer to appreciate the fact that jade makes an excellent good luck charm. It's pretty widespread knowledge that jade is an excellent stone for jewelry. It makes gorgeous pieces. Now, in China, jade is a symbol of health and abundance and of status and wealth. And this goes back several years to ancient times. That's right. In ancient China, jade was adored and beloved as it is today. Back in the day, the most influential members of society were buried in beautiful, elaborate suits made of jade, and the threads that sewed the suits were made of gold and silver wire. These elaborate suits took years to make, and lots of help was needed. The Chinese do believe that jade is important in their culture. There is, in fact, a Chinese proverb that reads, "Gold has a price, but jade is priceless." I will say this, it's not exactly priceless. It can get a bit pricey depending on what you're using it for. Rough like this, you can get a great deal, a great buy. But when we get into some of the jewelry pieces, you may be reaching in your pockets a bit. But then it all cycles around when the jade brings you lots of wealth and prosperity. Isn't that how it goes? Take a look at this one and tell me if you've ever seen this or something like it. It's got some white here with purple spotting, a bit of orange. Same for this second piece. Lots of variety here in the patterning. This is simply a newly discovered opal. It was found in Mexico, and in the world of energy healing, it has been given a nice metaphysical name. It is called the violet flame opal. Now, if you have studied natural healing, or you're familiar with the energy healing space in general, you may have heard of violet flame energy. I don't believe I've spoken of it on my channel, but I've read a little bit about it, and basically it is an intense energy coming from what is said to be the violet flame. And it's a concept that resonates purification and transformation. And this stone is said to embody those qualities. Now, I've got the stone because I was taken aback, if you will, by the beauty in the different pieces that I found. I saw these at my supplier, and I just thought that is unique and very pretty. And that's how I choose my personal collection is I go by the way that I feel when I look at it. Such a beautiful piece of nature's artwork. I think we can all agree on that. Violet flame opal. And there's no way I could close out this video without showing malachite, which would have to be my absolute favorite of all time. Malachite is this beautiful lush green, and it comes in this gorgeous banding, this beautiful pattern that you will find in almost all of the malachite, these striations that run down the side. Now, the polished version is also very nice. This is a muscovite mica. This color is so beautiful. Now, this piece has broken. A broken piece of malachite is said to bring you bad luck, so let's hope that's not true. These smaller pieces will give you a bit of an idea of how the polished version looks. Unless you are a collector of stones, you may not have many malachite pieces, as they are quite pricey. Even the rough stones, such as this one, can get to be a little bit expensive. There is a large, gorgeous chunk at my supplier that I really am in love with, and it may end up in a haul video one day because I may break down and get it. But malachite is so beautiful and so beloved. It does go for a pretty penny. And I've heard that it's not as readily available as it has been in the past. Not sure if that's a fact, but it seems that way. As I mentioned, this is an opaque copper carbonate hydroxide. If I didn't mention that, I'm mentioning it now. I've showed many green stones, and many of you may know that green tends to be associated with the heart chakra. So this could be a great heart chakra stone. Keep that in mind. Now I hope you were able to relax and listen all about stones and crystals, and I hope you will join me in the next video in this series, where we will talk about how to cleanse crystals, how to light a smudge stick and use selenite and all of those things, and that will be next time. So I will see you then, and until then, please have sweet dreams. Good night.